Korra had a power creep problem. The weird thing for me is that when I first started watching Korra, I was actually really disappointed because it felt like everyone had a massive power downgrade. After finishing the last bit of Avatar: The Last Airbender, which ends with like the final villain in Avatar: The Last Airbender, Ozai, and I know that he does this during Sozin's Comet, literally tries to obliterate a continent. He at the front of an air fleet, he single-handedly carved a chasm in the world. I mean, like, this is like divinity that we're talking about here, you know? And I know that he had Sozin's Comet going on, but even without that, people were crazy strong in ATLA. Wait, can I just... I'm sorry, hold on. Oh yeah, here we go. Thank you very much. Okay, just like... Yeah, okay, just hold on. Copyright gods. Blessings be upon thee. Thank you for your providence and the divinity with which you judge and ascertain the copyright nature of all things on YouTube. What the fuck? That's the power level of the final boss of the first fucking show. He literally just like weapon of mass destruction tier shit right there, you know? But then keep going, it gets better. We've already risked enough. Okay? We've risked enough. It's dangerous enough here. Let's be careful. Only because the comet... No, I know that. But even without the comet, they're very, very strong. Even without the comet, people in The Last Airbender are incredibly strong. But when Korra starts... Guys, you remember? Korra was a huge power downgrade. Remember when they introduced Korra, and it's like, she's a rough and tough, bold and brash, aggressive, fighting, rootin' tootin', shooting kind of avatar. She's so strong that she has muscles despite being a woman, which is still wonderful character design. Thanks for that. Look how strong she is. And then they show her, and she, like, punches, and rocks the size of my head fly forward. You know? She's a goddamn teenager. Aang was younger. She's like 5 years older than Aang, I think. 6, maybe. Aang was a prodigy, though? Yeah, but every character... Katara was stronger as well. What did Katara do, you know? Katara stopped the fucking rain when she was like 14 years old. She created a rain bubble. She would like cause waves that would carry like entire like groups of people across the water. Like she would freeze everything around her, like massive ice in the first season, she like did a giant ice tower and then smacked Zuko down in a nanosecond. Her fight with Pakku in season 1 was better than any waterbending Korra did out of the Avatar state for the first few seasons. Like that's true. That's what I'm saying right now is true, you know? I'm correct. But it's not that Korra is weak. All of the benders got weaker. All of the bending. So the thing is, it was an aesthetic distinction that they talk about in like the behind the scenes or whatever, okay? The thing that they wanted to do was that they wanted to make it like stylistically evocative of martial arts at the time, right? So since The Last Airbender takes place at the dawn of industrialization, the primary martial art there would still be like, you know, fucking kung fu, karate, tai chi, like shit like that, you know? So that's how all the benders move. They move like martial artists. And it looks great, and there's, you know, like all that fucking tantric mysticism that goes along with it, you know, and it works. But in Korra, it's like, fuck you. God damn it. I'm making up... Guys, I'm tired. Don't make fun of my word choice, okay? But in Korra, it's like 1920s, and people on the radio talk like this. And we're watching boxing, and the left hook just drives right into his jawline. Oh my god, he exploded with the force of the punch. They're playing baseball now, and it's the top of the... Like, it's the 1920s or whatever now, okay? So now, the predominant, like, aesthetic of martial arts at that time period is what? It's not fucking magic kung fu shit. It's boxing. So now, in Korra, when benders bend, they throw punches. Did you guys ever notice this difference? It's like a very significant difference in how, like, the bending styles are portrayed. Now, I get the aesthetics of it and all, but the thing is, when your primary way of expressing the direction of your bending is a punch, there's kind of a limit to what you can do. The motions of martial art, like Kung Fu or whatever, are much more elaborate and freeform than something you see in boxing. In boxing, you literally just punch. I mean, technically, it's like kickboxing because they do kick to bend, but the motions are much more about striking. This is such a bad take. What I am talking about is literally something the showrunners talked about. Eat shit. Fuck you. This is literally true. They literally talked about this. They talked about, like, the design space that they had with regards to the aesthetic of the fighting styles they tried to emulate in the bending so that they could match the tone of the period, okay? It's literally, they talked about this, okay? The problem is, I don't think that boxing or kickboxing, whatever, opens up as much design space for cool shit, you know? Like, think of all the stuff that Aang was doing to bend, you know? He wasn't, like, punching and kicking. He was, like, flipping or doing, like, waves and shit, you know? But, like, how does Korra water bend? Punch, punch. How does Korra fire bend? Punch, punch. How does Korra earth bend? Punch, punch. And all that changes is, like, what element of material gets, like, thrown forward, you know? Whereas in The Last Airbender, there was a very deliberate effort to... Oh, shit, 126k. I'm glad this rant is doing it for you. Whereas in The Last Airbender, there was a really, really deliberate effort to make all the different styles distinct, you know? Aang, when airbending, would always move his hands and arms and body in spiral patterns. Waterbenders always move in a sort of wavy, flowing pattern with very little sharp movements, you know? Earthbenders are all sharp movements, where they pull up from the ground and do, like, these hard, distinct, like, you know, gestures. And firebenders would always move with, like, maximum aggression, you know? Yeah, they all look like different types of martial artists, you know? It works. I don't know. I think the show writers even mentioned that everyone was inspired by a different type of martial art. Yeah, exactly. Oh, I hadn't even gotten to my point yet. Guys, I just want to make it clear. I do like Korra. I think it's a good show. I just don't think that it... The problem is that it has the unfortunate position of being compared to, like, one of the best animated, like, media pieces ever made. So, you know, that's a very tough act to follow. But, like, the politics of Korra, there are so many problems. Not just from a lefty perspective, you know, but, like, from a storytelling perspective that are really, really strange. I've talked about this before, but, like, okay, here's a very basic one, okay? Like, Season 1, right? Okay? With Amon, okay? Amon always came off to me like he was, like, kind of representative of, like a union leader, right? You know? He appealed to the working man, the common man. He spoke of imbalance and inequality. There was, like, a heavy industrial aesthetic to him and his minions. He would have them meet in, like, these, like warehouses to give passionate speeches about, like, the, yeah. Passionate speeches about, like, you know, the right for all of them to, like, have an equal and fair society. I don't think that his politics were those of a union worker. I think his aesthetic was that of a union worker. You're gonna kick me out for that? Does that make sense? Do you understand what I mean about the aesthetic? The industrialist, like, common man, you know, like, turn of the, like, industrial revolution type stuff. Like, to me, that's the feeling that I get. I'm not saying that means he's, like, a bad guy because he's a union leader. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that's the aesthetic that was given, in my opinion, okay? The problem is, the show doesn't really establish the oppression of non-benders. The funny thing is, I think that the world of Avatar is fundamentally oppressive because of the existence of benders. Like, wow, you have people, and, like, some of them have incredible superpowers. I wonder if there will be any inequality in this society, you know? in reality, like you'd think like bending would be considered like a magical art that like confers like higher moral status upon an individual, because Lord knows we've been through that shit as humanity before. They don't really talk about it that much, which is fine. If they don't want to touch into that, that's fine. But then you have Amon coming around talking about how like the non-benders are being oppressed, and my question is, where? Can someone tell me? Where? I'm asking. Where? It's not really shown. Nice, that was enough. There's deadass only one scene of non-benders being harassed in season 1. Yeah, and the funny thing is, they have a perfect setup that they never actually like pay on. The council that runs what's it called? Empire City? What's the name again? What's Republic City? God, what a name. The people who lead Republic City are all benders, aren't they? They are, right? They're all bending representatives of their like constituent ethnic group. So non-benders, who are the majority, don't really have representation in the government. That's kind of weird. They're Osaka? Yeah, but I mean like contemporarily. Are they not necessarily benders? Well, what? Okay, maybe I'm wrong on that. What if they had made all of the people in the council benders and had a couple of scenes where they indicated that the laws were being preferential to benders, you know? What if there was just one scene where there was a fight between two adults where one of them was seriously injured because the other person was a bender, and then, like, the councilmen are, like, discussing this because there's, like, civil unrest, and they're like, benders are going to bend. They can't help it. Like basically like a boys will be boys kind of thing. Like, maybe a firebender, like, burns somebody's shop a bit. It's like, whatever. Like, this happens. Like, obviously that's unfair because they're being preferential to benders, right? You know? Like, they could have thrown a little bit in. I'm just, like, riffing off the cuff here, but I think they could have thrown a bit in there. And like, established the idea that there's actually some oppression taking place, but... Okay, last few blue coins. But they didn't do that. So then Amon shows up, and Amon is like this charismatic leader who wants to, like, remove bending from all benders. Now, right off the bat, this is an obviously insane plan, right? The idea that one single person, allegedly blessed by the spirits, oh yeah, and all the cops are metal benders, right? Every cop is a metal bender. That's a bit weird. So that means not only is every cop from the ethnic Earth Kingdom, at least within a few generations, but they're all a special type of bender? There's gotta be some elitism in there, right? Like, I don't think that's crazy to say. Not everyone? Well, isn't that like the main force? Look, whatever. You get my point, okay? Mako was a cop, wasn't he? Look, just, you get my point. There's clearly bias at hand here. There's obviously, like, ethnic and, like, magic prerequisites for some of this stuff, okay? There's real oppression you could point to here. I just don't know why they didn't focus on it. Anyway, so Amon's plan is obviously dumb, right? We all recognize that, right? Like, one person's gonna remove all bending from the world, the whole planet. You're gonna do your thumb on head thing to the whole planet. That's your plan? Even the whole of Republic City. That's what you think's gonna happen? Like, it's obviously stupid, right? So he comes off kind of like a madman. And I think that's fine. If he's like a crazy madman who's playing off the paranoia and the fear and the anxiety of a non-bending population, cool. Cool. That's totally fine. I'm so cool with that, okay? But then, it seems like the narrative doesn't treat him like that. The narrative gives Korra these scenes where, doesn't he literally do the "you're not so different, you and I" thing? Like, we both have political opinions and fight to achieve them. Maybe we're not so different, Korra. And she's like, no. Am I thinking of a different villain? I feel like at some point he pulled this shit. He doesn't? Am I misremembering this? I don't remember that. It might be one of the other films. He does something like that. That's Zaheer. Well, Zaheer had point, at least. I'm trying to think. Maybe I'm remembering him complimenting Mako. The thing that I remember very distinctly is that the narrative took Amon's plan too seriously. Not his threat, because Amon was a very serious threat. They took his plan too seriously. I don't think they sufficiently showcased the madness behind it, which made it seem a little cartoon villainy, right? And then, of course, the reveal takes place, spoilers, that Amon's actually a waterbending using bloodbending to clog up people's chakras so they can't bend. He wasn't chosen by the spirits, he's just a very talented bloodbender, and also a descendant of organized crime in the city who resented his father and came back because he's projecting his hatred of his waterbender father onto the rest of the benders in the city. So all of his resentment was born of personal trauma. Now, I gotta say, guys, I'm not a big fan of storylines where person complaining about systemic oppression is actually revealed to have daddy issues and is projecting all of it. That's not a narrative that I'm generally a huge fan of. Even if the oppression they're fighting isn't real, it's like such a common trope to delegitimize actual efforts to oppose systemic problems. Especially since, again, there should be systemic oppression against non-benders in the Avatar world. It makes sense. Okay, we're gonna kill all of these guys. We're going to kill all of them. Wait, can we not? Oh. That's right. We can't. Cool. So anyway, so yeah, we have the whole trope with like, oh, actually, it wasn't systemic oppression, it was daddy issues. Great, okay, whatever. So anyway, the actual fight scenes towards the end of Season 1 are actually pretty dope, and bloodbending is a super sick power, and they did such a good job, like, animating it, too. The cracking noises as people, like, try to move their bodies against the blood in their body, like, resisting them, the, like, misery and physical torture. I think they did a really good job aesthetically depicting it. The aesthetics of Korra were on point in so many ways. Not all, but in so many ways. So that slapped, okay? So he's revealed to have been a big meanie grifter, and he escapes with his brother, who was on the city council. And then we get the most brutal finish in a Nickelodeon property, with Amon's brother committing a murder-suicide in the coolest fucking way. Like, so fucking cool. Amon and... what was his name? Tarlok? What was the name of his brother? What was the name of, It was Tarlok? Oh, damn, I can't believe I remember that. Fuck. Tarlok, is driving... no, Tarlok is on the boat, and Amon's driving it. And Amon's like, we're back together again, brother. What wacky hijinks will we get into now? And, Tarlok puts on this, like, taser shock glove and unscrews the gasoline, valve to the boat. And Tarlok's like, yeah, it's good to be back together. And a tear falls down Amon's face, probably because he knows what's about to happen. And Tarlok zaps the inside of the gasoline tank and blows up the boat. Literally murder-suicide. Like, Nickelodeon show. Fantastic. Absolutely. Fuck me up. Why he do that? Their lives were fucked. It was over for them. They were both wanted criminals and severely fucked up people. It was all over for them, okay? Amon took Tarlok's bending away? Yeah, but there was a lot that went into that, you know. Season 2 was just a giant clusterfuck, and it sucked, and the animation was bad, and the only good thing from Season 2 was the introduction of that Tony Stark character. What the fuck was his name? He had Judy as his assistant. Those two, I loved them, okay? That was the best part, okay, from the whole fucking season. They introduced those. Varric, yeah, Varric and Judy. Yeah, those two, that's great. Keep them up. Great stuff. Love them, okay? No need to change that. Good stuff. Not gonna complain about that. Yeah, do the thing, Judy. Yeah, exactly. Always good. Keep it up. No need to change. Not gonna complain. The rest of it was just not great. At all. Just not good. Oh, God. Oh, there we go. It was underneath the... Okay. Yeah, she did do the thing. The Lost History was really cool. You mean with the first Avatar? Yeah, that stuff was narratively important. I'm glad they fleshed that out, though it was done a little awkwardly. The animation was bad, too. Didn't they, like, give it to a different studio for Season 2? Why the fuck did they do that with successful properties? Oh, yeah, and Season 1 also ends with Korra nearly killing herself. God, Season 1 was so dark. Jesus. Well, anyway, she doesn't kill herself. Spoilers, because there are 3 more seasons after that. Okay, so Season 3 is more interesting. Wait, hold on. I just need to know how many people are listening to me ramble. I've been streaming for 26 hours now, and at this point, I have a very tenuous connection to reality. Surprisingly, about the same number of people as Casbin. Okay. Sure, whatever. Alright, people are listening, I'll talk. YouTube livestream got delisted. Oh, it did a million years ago. Fucking sucks, but whatever. Oh god. Okay. So Season 3 is interesting, okay? So, one of the major forces in Avatar The Last Airbender is the White Lotus. The White Lotus is basically like the Illuminati, but good. They're basically like a group of philosopher warriors all around the world who try to maintain balance and order and blah blah blah. Okay? Like, cool. Whatever. So that's fine, okay? Now, later on in Korra, the White Lotus gets kind of bureaucratized. They're responsible for protecting Korra as the Avatar, and it seems like they're just kind of like a private army now. Like a private police force. Like, not a bunch of, like, warrior philosophers, but they're just like Avatar Protection Bodyguard Club, you know? Whatever, okay. But there's also a group called the Red Lotus, okay? The Red Lotus are the White Lotus, except a little bit more radical. Basically, the Red Lotus were a group of incredibly powerful, talented, and wise benders who had to be locked up because they were dank as shit. There's a waterbender with no arms who uses water tentacles in place of arms. There's a combustion bender. There's a lava bender. And then there's Zaheer, the main villain, who is an incredibly talented airbender. Like, insanely talented airbender. He was not originally an airbender, actually. He was just a student of air, like, philosophy. But when the world and the spirits started giving people back airbending powers after the release of the spirits in Season 2, he got them back. And he considered that divine providence. And he was, to be fair, was pretty well suited to be an airbender. And one of the things that I really fucking like about Zaheer as well, remember what I said earlier about, like, subverting the aesthetic tropes surrounding the different, like, bending types? Zaheer does not look like an airbender, okay? Zaheer looks like a fucking Giga Chad. Zaheer is huge. His jaw is like wider. This is what Zaheer looks like, okay? I love this, okay? I appreciate the fact that they were like, we need an airbending villain, because we've had villains from other groups, okay? What if we gave him the widest lantern jaw of any human to have ever lived, okay? What if we just cranked up the testosterone? Because Aang was, like, not hyper-masculine. You know, the kind of cultural association with airbenders was, like, effeminacy. You know, monk-like, sort of, sexlessness, you know? But then he looks like that, so... Yeah, more agender than anything, yeah. Well, but he looks gender, you know? He looks gendered. A little bit. But he still looks like a monk, and he's still a very smart guy. Wise dude. Anyway, he breaks free, and he breaks the rest of his crew free, and what is their plan? Their plan is to kill the Avatar. They believe that all forms of hierarchy are unjust. Yeah, we'll get to the undertones in a second. Overtones? They believe that hierarchy is unjust, and one of the greatest hierarchies is the existence of the Avatar, which exists as a kind of de facto ultra police officer who enforces the status quo with untrustworthy godlike power. Which, according to the history of the show, is completely true. They're also not a big fan of leaders. The first thing they do after they break free is they assassinate the Earth Queen. On a Nickelodeon show, Zaheer forms an air bubble around her head, like a little hurricane tornado, and they watch as she asphyxiates to death. She just chokes to death right there. He just kills her. And she deserved it. She sucked. Fuck her. They're like full-on, like, chaos reigns type anarchists. They're not, like, in here to build mutual aid systems. They believe the natural state of humanity is chaos, that humanity should live in tandem with the spirits, and that we should all, like, radically... Like, they're full-on, like, radical freedom types, you know? Like, wacky stuff, you know? But they do have some salient arguments. Like, for example, the fact that the Avatar is basically a child given godlike powers, who's often immediately groomed and used by their parent nation to reinforce whatever military will that nation has. The show even establishes that's a fact, and indicates that Korra doesn't have a strong set of moral principles to her beliefs, right? Like, Korra clearly doesn't have a very strong understanding of why she does the things that she does. She likes her friends, and she has a basic idea of what's wrong or right, but broader political philosophy is not... It's beyond her, you know? And Zaheer points this out. She's ignorant. She doesn't deserve the power that she gets. So Zaheer talks with her, and when it becomes clear that she's not going to acquiesce to them, Zaheer tries to kill her. And they don't try to just kill her, they try to break the Avatar cycle by forcing an Avatar state, then killing her. When an Avatar dies in the Avatar state, they break the cycle forever, such as the legend. So they kidnap her, poison her in a way that's supposed to exacerbate or produce the Avatar state. She gets tortured for a while, and then she finally does go Avatar state, sicko mode, and she fights the rest of the Red Lotus single-handedly. And the problem is that the Avatar in the Avatar state is kind of a badass, so they weren't actually ready to kill her. She breaks free and starts fighting all of them, including Zaheer. In the fights that follow, Zaheer watches his one true love die. Again, in a brutal fucking death. Her head literally gets turned into pulp in an explosion. And realizing that he has nothing material left connecting him. Oh, that was before? That was before? Okay, sorry, that was before. Before the effort to kill the Avatar, his one true love dies. He realizes he has nothing left to live for, and he embraces an ancient Airbender philosophy and learns how to fly, because he has nothing grounding him to reality anymore. So he's like the one Airbender, like, ever in a bajillion years who finally gains the ability to fly. He's a prodigy, he's a genius, and he's politically grounded. So what is Korra's response to this philosopher king with incredible power who has saliently argued all of his political points? She hulks out on him. Be a bad guy. She proves his point. She uses overwhelming, unearned, divine power to beat him and to take down his whole plan. She never offers a counter-argument to his position. The idea that leadership is corrupt and that the Avatar is like an unjustified hierarchy, she never actually offers a meaningful counterpoint. I'm not saying Zaheer is a good guy. The dude is clearly fucking crazy. I'm not, like, denying that. But it frustrates me so much when, like, the, quote, villains have a good point, and they never refute it. They address this in Season 4 to an extent, but... You sound like Lex Luthor? No, guys, she could have made good counter-arguments. I don't have a problem with her beating him. She should have beat him. It's a Nickelodeon show. She is the protagonist, and he was the villain. She should have beat him, you know? But she should have had a counter-argument. It's very unconvincing if she can't provide one. It makes it seem like the writers of the show found a bunch of really salient criticisms of their system, and then rather than address them, they simply acknowledged they existed and then refuted them by punching it. It's fundamentally a might makes right premise. Korra doesn't need to justify her existence as like a demigod as long as she's stronger than the people criticizing her. Isn't that a little bit odd? Like, at least to me, I feel like that's fundamentally a concession to the logic of Zaheer. you know? I'm not saying she should have had to have been a debate lord. Doesn't she literally go to the fucking spirit realm in Season 3? Doesn't she meet Iroh in Season 3? Or is that Season 4? Yes? Oh, that's in 2? Do you not think perhaps maybe Iroh could have had answers to this? He's the wisest guy in the series. Don't you think she could have talked to him about it? Like, hey, my death is desired by these people. They say that my presence does nothing but procure war and damage, and that I haven't earned my etc, etc, etc. Like, don't you think Iroh would have answers to these? She does in Season 4? Yeah, but that's after. It's after. She talks to Zaheer in the spirit world. I know, I'm just saying that there are counter-arguments that she can provide. What about the fact that the Avatar is the link between the material and the spiritual world? A position designated by the spirits as a kind of ambassador to facilitate and promote peace between both kinds of people. What about the fact that, historically, the Avatar hasn't been responsible for any more major conflict than any, like, secular or non-Avatar governments have been? Like, what about the fact that the Avatar, by way of the nature of their training, is kind of relativistically inclined towards more moral actions because immoral actions tend to align the spirit world against them and hamper them in their training? There are, like, arguments that she could have presented. Maybe they're not perfect, but there's something. I don't know. It shows that she needed help. Yeah, but I don't think Season 4 sufficiently... Season 4 wasn't really Zaheer was right. Season 4 was more like... Didn't she visit Zaheer in Season 4? And he was like, yeah, well, you win some, you lose some. I don't know. Let me get you. God damn it. I need the fucking turbo nozzle. Yeah, he was like, yeah, well, you know. I'm good-natured about this. She admitted he was right about some things, but if she really wanted to admit that he was right, she would have slit her wrist. Because his point was that her existence is an abomination to, like, the natural order of the world, you know? So obviously it's not a full concession to his point. It's more of a, you're right, I don't know what I'm doing type of thing. But that's not the first time Korra's had that problem, so I don't know if that's really a concession to Zaheer, you know? Okay, I understand that what I'm saying isn't necessarily going to be, like, universally agreed upon. You get what I'm saying, though? You get the vibes I'm trying to project, right? This, to me, is just odd. It speaks, like, to me, it feels like they had a desire to touch on some really interesting subject material, but they not follow it through fully, you know? To not, like... I'm just gonna fucking die to this. Whatever. Okay, we're killing these things. We're going to methodically kill all of them. Kyoshi would really piss you off. She went on full murder sprees for no reason. I don't mind characters being flawed or evil. I just want subjects that are brought up to be discussed. Also, wasn't she mostly just like a stern authoritarian, like fuck with me and I'll fuck with you type deal? I don't know if she killed people for no reason. I think she had a pretty strong internal sense of what was right. She was just a rigid utilitarian. You know? Yes, Korra's biggest problem is that she has no ideology, exactly. When you're facing ideological villains, you need an ideological, like forward point. You need an ideology you're defending. It's not enough for you to just be the protagonist with love and friendship. The ideologies you're facing are real. Amon's like a populist, like anti-oppression sentiment exists in the world in its own way. Amon's like advocacy for anti-hierarchy in all forms exists in the real world. These are real ideologies. And by the way, half of the clout Korra gets is specifically because it was bold enough to cite these ideologies, even if it's indirectly. So if you're going to like get props for invoking these aesthetics, these terms, these ideas, you have to follow it through. And I just don't think they did in a lot of cases. Wait, does that not... How do you kill them? I thought that this would kill them. You can't? I thought these would. No. The conclusion that I'm forced to take is that the ideology that Korra is defending is essentially centrist liberalism. The idea that the status quo is fundamentally okay, that challenges to the status quo from radical ideologues are to be like defeated, not because their ideology is wrong, but because their ideology is different to what is accepted, and that fundamentally the fact that Korra is in a position of power is what justifies her continuation in that position. That's the ideology the show basically defends. Aang challenged his own righteousness quite a few more times than Korra seems to. Or, at the very least, Aang's actually, like, led to something. Also, Aang was, like, explicitly... Aang was never defending the status quo in his show. He was fighting against it. The status quo was imperialist monarchy. So, he gets away with being... He doesn't have to be as, direct in his own, like, ideological proposition, because he's not, like, defending something that already exists. He's challenging something that, that is unequivocally bad. Okay, yeah, we can't bring the watermelon down there. We'll just fucking die. And I don't think that the Last Airbender was perfect politically, but, you know. Anyway, so this all comes to a head in Season 4, okay? Now, there are things about Season 4 that I really like, okay? I really like some parts of Season 4, okay? I like the fact that it depicted a very realistic, like, rise of fascism. And it was obviously directly fascism. After the Earth Queen is murdered by Zaheer, the Earth Kingdom falls into a bunch of, like, factional Confederate fighting, and a strong woman emerges, Kuvira. Kuvira is a talented and powerful earth and metal bender, and is also a fucking fascist. Don't they literally build camps? She's often seen around trains. It's not subtle. She constantly gives populist speeches about the need to sacrifice, like, disorder and disloyalty for the unity of the nation, you know? She's literally working on trains and re-education camps the first time she's seen, you know? Bolin even falls for her shit because he's trying to be more politically, like, involved and, like, help the Earth Kingdom, and he doesn't recognize the difference between, like, outright fascism and just, like, stern, no-nonsense governance, you know? Bolin falls for that shit. Yeah, he makes propaganda in favor of Kuvira, you know? Like, he stands for it. She's explicitly a fascist. Anyway, Kuvira steadily gains power, more and more power, and becomes more of a threat to her neighbors. She becomes increasingly authoritarian and militaristic. And, like, her, like, big threat to the world is literally Lebensraum. Republic City is built on the colonies the Fire Kingdom created in the Earth Kingdom. She says they're rightful Earth Kingdom territory, exactly like what Hitler did with the fucking Sudetenland, and tried to march on in and take them. And much like the Nazis, she had a massive obsession with, where do I have to put this again? Do I have to walk this across the thing? And like the Nazis, she's an obsession with gaudy super weapons. The thing she tries to use to take over Republic City isn't just a regular military force, it's a fucking mecha. Yeah, and like a magic nuke. Oh god. Okay, we have to gently nudge it away from the edge here. Trina. So close. So close. Anyway, I know that, like, Korra did a lot of growing up between Season 3 and Season 4 because she was on her, like, short-hair depression arc, and I respect that, and I'm not invalidating that or anything. But the differences between how Kuvira gets treated and how Zaheer gets treated, not just by Korra, but by the narrative, are really, really, like, odd to me. Nice. Okay. Thanks, dude. You guys know what I mean? Like, in terms of their explicit goals, Zaheer wanted to take down the Avatar and kill, like, world leaders and shit, okay? Whereas Kuvira wanted to establish a fascist ethno-state. We don't need to do the utilitarian, like, math on this one. I feel like Kuvira was probably more evil than Zaheer by several times. Like, by several degrees. By a few, at least a few degrees. You know. But Zaheer narratively is treated like a monster at the end, you know? Zaheer is dehumanized, not humanized, at the end of Season 3. Watching his love die, is not only does it give him the ability to fly, but, like, it kind of is a way of symbolically representing his, yeah, his lost ideals, his succumbing to madness, his emptiness inside, the vacuousness of his of his emotional state, stuff like that. You know what I mean? Yeah, I know that Zaheer gets a friendly convo in Season 4. I acknowledge that, but the end of Season 3 paints Zaheer as, like, a moral abomination, and in some respects he is. I'm not saying he did nothing wrong. But the end of Season 4... I mean... Korra saves Kuvira at the end of Season 4. The mecha goes crazy, and Kuvira, the fascist who was trying to create an ethno-state by invading, like, the world's only, like, unified, like, city-state, goes like, oh no, oh my god, I didn't know it would be like this. I didn't know being a fascist warmonger would end in people dying. And then Korra nearly dies trying to save Kuvira from a weapon of her own design. Plenty of people have died in Korra. It's not like they couldn't let anyone die. But not only does she not die, she gets saved in an act of selfless empathy mere seconds after deciding she no longer wants to be evil. It's a very different tone. I don't have a problem with Kuvira being saved or even redeemed, but there's a dissonance here that's, I mean, worth talking about at least, right? Does everyone get where I'm coming from? Please tell me you agree. I'm so tired. I'm seeing fucking stars, okay? Again, I don't have anything wrong with, like, forgiving fascists. I don't. I'm super big on the redemptive justice stuff. I'm very, very big on that. But it seems like what redeemed Zaheer? Zaheer got redeemed by being imprisoned and put back in the timeout chamber, and then the next season he got to have a pleasant conversation. But Kuvira got an act of selfless empathy right after fighting Korra, like, in the heat of the moment. I know Korra matured a lot during that period of time, it's just... You know what I mean? Yeah, in a way, and this could be me reading too much into it, but it makes me feel like, to the showrunners, murdering leaders and ending the Avatar is more abominable than a fascist ethno-state. And some of that is protagonist bias, but a lot of that also feels to me like a reflection of what they think is more, like, morally insidious, you know? I could be reading a little bit too much into that. It's possible that they just maybe mishandled or conveyed wrong information with Korra's, like, development because she did mature. It's just stuff that I think about. Now, with all of this being said, I really like The Legend of Korra. I really enjoy watching it. These are just things that I think about. But I really enjoyed it. I did really enjoy Korra. I'm glad Korrasami happened at the end. I don't know where else they could have gone with that. Zaheer's methodology was way worse than Kuvira's. I agree with that. Zaheer's, like, Joker mode, tear it all down, no consequences, fuck the man, like, strategy was not exactly, like, I don't think he had a workable plan or anything. But the show didn't meaningfully criticize him for that. Instead, Korra would just say stuff like, "You're insane," and then, like, Zaheer would rebuke it intelligently. You know? He would be like, he would, like, say something smart in response, and it's like, oh. Wait, am I supposed to be rooting for Korra here? Yeah, you're fat. Yeah, exactly. Zaheer would make an argument, Korra would be like, you're fat. Exactly. True. I will... Is there a second star to get here? I think we're fucked, lads. I think it's over. There isn't? There are blue coins. Yeah, we need the blue coins. Like, we all get Rose coins. I still really, like... It's difficult to do stuff like that. I get what they wanted to do. Every season was like a self-contained ideological battle with a sort of cartoonified, hyperbolic representation of a popular ideology from that era, you know? The second season was mostly about, like, religious zealotry and extremism. And fine, that's the thing. Yeah, go for it. I still think the second season was the worst of all of them. By far. I don't even want to talk about season 2. Let's not talk about season 2. I don't even... There's a lot wrong with season 2. Unalaq was a religious extremist? I mean, yeah, wasn't he? Right? Am I misreading that? Yeah, it seemed like he was like a crazy religious cultist who was willing to, like... It seemed like some, like, hardcore, like... Revelations, like, the Rapture shit, basically. Honestly, Unalaq was really ideologically incoherent, you know? Seasons 1, 3, and 4 were more ideologically coherent. Season 4 was explicitly fascism. Season 3 seemed like, kind of like, mega mode anarchism, and Season 1 seemed like, I don't know, populist egalitarianism. Which draws a lot from socialist movements, for sure. Anyway, I totally get, like, the drive and the desire, you know, to have a show, like, kids' animation show, no less. I mean, it's not exactly easy to tackle this subject material in this format, where you're, like, symbolically representing, like, complex real-world ideologies. That's, like, pretty cool stuff, and, god damn it, maybe even a little bit unprecedented, too. You know? Whatever, I don't care, we're getting blue coins. Also, really not sure about how I feel about Toph being made police chief in Korra. That feels very strange to me. I don't care how much they, like, hand-wave that away afterwards or try to post-hoc justify it. That seemed really strange to me. Like, honestly, my best guess for that is that, was that, like, they wanted the cops in Republic City to have cool metal bending powers because they thought it'd be sick. So they thought, like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if Toph, like, founded the school that made them all like that? And like, oh, well, we'll make her police chief. And then, I don't know, we'll make it, like, that she was sick of her job or whatever. Why the fuck would Toph be the police chief? Like, she's the opposite of a cop. Do you mean to say, then, that, like, everything she was in the first show was just like an edgy childhood phase? God damn it. Because that feels kind of disrespectful to the character we know and love, right? Toph was literally like a criminal, vagabond, like, weirdo, like, no rules, party rockers in the house tonight type of girl. And then if it's like, oh yeah, she grew up and grew out of that phase, it's like, oh, I kind of liked that. I liked that phase. Do you think Katara's character was disrespected in Korra? No, I think it's fine. I think Katara was perfectly fine. Katara and Aang married, lived a long life, and now Katara's a bajillion years old and is a healer in the Northern Water Tribe. Southern Water Tribe. That's totally fair to me. That makes sense. I think that's totally representative of her character. Please just... Thank you. I don't mind that at all. I gotta say, though, the direction Aang went also seems a bit odd to me. I know that, like, characters grow up, but, like... Okay, so Aang was the Avatar. I get that. That's the thing that he continues being, you know? But in the future, every time he was shown, he just kind of looked like a gruff, unimpressed, and like, put upon... Like, just, like, dude. He didn't look very monk-like towards the end there. Those flashbacks where he was fighting with that mob boss, like, I don't know, he just kind of looked like a guy. I'm cool with him being a bad dad. I actually think that was good character development. The idea that he would, like, care way more about, the idea that he would, like, care way more about raising, Tenzin. Because Tenzin was an airbender and he was desperate to find a way to reconnect with his heritage. That makes total sense to me. He wasn't flawless, you know. I think that perfectly fits. Okay, I think we got all the blue coins here. Yeah, I don't like his chin strap beard either. That's kind of weird. Yeah, Aang was obsessed with the past. He was super fixated on the past. It totally makes sense to me that he would do that. The chin strap beard, I'm not defending that. I would have preferred a goatee to that. Oh, he was from the past? True, he was literally from the past. Yes, that is true. Scale of 1 to 10, how sleepy are you? I'm pretty wired. I like media fatigue. I mean, this is all off-the-cuff stuff. This isn't a video essay. I'm just talking, you know. What are the air nomads politically? Conservative or liberal? I think the air nomads were shown to be pretty, like, conservative and traditionalist, you know? They were peaceful, but they were very obviously, like, a strictly regimented, like, highly ordered, I would say, like, maybe reactionary society. They're not reactionary in the way we think of reactionary, but, like, I think... They were the pro-gay ones, though. Yeah, when I say reactionary, I don't mean it, like, in the context of our world. I mean that, like, the air nomads, from what I saw of them, gave me the impression that they would be very uncomfortable, like, moving out of sort of adhered social order. Yeah, that's why Monk Gyatso, yeah, exactly, Gyatso, was unique, because he was playful and willing to actually, like, humanize the Avatar. He was less hierarchical, less traditional. And that's why Aang loved him more than all the other monks he was raised under, right? I don't remember any female airbenders, come to think of it. Well, the last airbender... The last airbender avatar was a woman. But it's true that when the airbenders were shown from the past, they were all men. The monks were all men, and weren't the students all men, too? That is true. Because they were segregated? Well, that's kind of a point, isn't it? Having your entire society segregated by gender like that, I'd say it's a little bit conservative in my opinion. The men and women lived in separate temples. Yeah, so every time you had, like... When did they fuck? Yeah, okay, whatever. Highly traditionalist conservative. No wonder they lost the war. Jesus Christ. What are your thoughts on Iroh's ideology? I mean, I don't know if Iroh had a coherent ideology so much as he was like a constant fountain of wisdom, you know? The closest thing I can think of to his ideology is his belief that the elements and everyone in the world are all, like, tightly connected, and that, the boundaries between them are socially enforced. He was kind of Buddhist. Well, yeah, I mean, he was pretty monk-like in his own. Yeah, look, he was a fucking hippie, okay? He was a goddamn hippie. That's what he was. God damn. We've just passed the point, by the way, that I had to call it quits the last time we did this. You can believe it. Definitely playing a lot better than we did that time. Give me. Give me. Damn, they're popping off over there. Isn't this where the cart stops? What? It didn't stop. Do I talk to them? Yeah, I talk. Oh, that's one. It always goes higher than I expect it will. I got two of them there. Missed. Missed because I'm cringe. Cringe for life. Okay, I think we're gonna be fine. Ah, that would have been the golden shot right there. All right, that's one loop. Are we aiming for 150K? We are. We have already met the goal. I will not be updating the goal from this point. I am very delighted. I am honored, in fact, by the incredible generosity and support of my wonderful community. And there's no getting around that. And that's the rootin' tootin' truth. Thank you. Fuck. You really do help people, so what if you're a bit cringe? Thank you. That's what I tell my parents. Please? I just got one. I don't think we're gonna get this time. Nice. Maybe? Not impossible. You're a terrible shot. These things are not especially precise. Is it just those two? Yes! Woo! Oh, nice. Okay. All right. Were there any other opinions on Korra that people wanted from me? Since it is only through talking about things I'm interested in that I have any hope of staying awake. I'm not seeing any serious. Season 2? It's just not that good. I feel like a lot of the problems that I have with Season 2, it's not just like the political stuff, it's also just structurally, it's just not that good. It's not made as well. Seasons 1, 3, and 4 of Korra are made well. They look great. They're narratively interesting. The Dark Avatar stuff, I didn't like the Dark Avatar stuff. I thought that shit was super cringe. That shit was so dumb. Dark Avatar. Season 2 isn't canon? If only. How close are you having all the shines? Not close. Not close. So the thing... as I understood it, right? The Avatar was the bridge between the material world and the spirit world, right? So, naturally, they're heavily spiritually inclined, which means they have access to all of the bending styles, right? That makes sense to me. That totally tracks, right? I'm vibing with it, okay? But then, in Season 2 of Legend of Korra, it's revealed that's actually not true. In reality, the truth is that, here, I need the homing one to lock onto me. The truth is that, what's his name, Wan? The original Avatar? The Wan, like, was a regular-ass human ye back a bajillion years ago, okay? Who just learned bending because he was a wacky and cool guy. And then he merged with the spirit of, like, existential good. I don't know if I can get them this far over. Then he merged with Rava, the spirit of good. So the Avatar isn't actually the bridge between the spirit world and the material world. It's actually just a human that has a spirit powering them up, which is so much less interesting to me. Like, infinitely less interesting to me. Like, oh, it's just all the things. It's just because the spirit of good. And also, what? Does that mean avatars can't be evil? Like, literally, it's the spirit of good? Have there not been evil avatars, like, ever? Was that ever a problem? Just kind of weird. Anyway, in Season 2, the main villain wants to merge with the evil spirit that corresponds to the good spirit, so he can become the Dark Avatar, which is like the regular Avatar, except evil. It's really dumb, hacky anime fighting the Demon Lord at the end of the universe type shit. Yeah, also, explain, like, doesn't it kind of rob Korra of a lot of world building? Oh, how did that hit? Doesn't it rob Korra of a lot of world building and, like, personal growth and character development? All that time she spent wondering if she was a good person and whether or not she could be a good force for the world? Oh, Korra, don't worry. You're literally fused with the existential spirit of good. You are divinely ordained to be a force for good. Nothing to worry about. You're fine. Yeah. Pretty dumb stuff. You might as well treat Season 2 as not canon. They basically ignore Season 2, except for the whole spirits are in the world again thing, and the creepy goth, girl GF thing. Apart from that, I think they pretty much just ignore everything that happened in Season 2, which is pretty wise. Oh, Varric, yeah, sorry, Varric and Judy. Yeah, sorry, Varric and Judy. My bad, yeah. Look, they kept the good parts, okay? They make fun of Season 2 later on. Yeah, they do. They acknowledge. Least favorite ATLA episode? I think it's universally agreed upon that The Divide is the worst ATLA episode. The one where they have to lead those two Earth Kingdom refugees through the Great Canyon or whatever, and all of the characters in the gang behave like ridiculous sitcom stereotype versions of themselves after 27 seasons where the writers have completely given up. And all the, like, plot and conflict and everything writing is, like, feels like it was written for 4-year-olds. I don't know. Secret Tunnel? Secret Tunnel is fine. Though, I was always a bit confused by Secret Tunnel. A little bit. Because, like, I don't understand how there was any ambiguity between, like, Korra and Aang relationship-wise after that. Because they, like, kissed. Or they nearly kissed. They were clearly leaning in for a kiss. Right when the light went dark and they thought they were gonna die, you know? Wait, Katara, sorry. All waterbenders look the same to me because I'm racist. Yeah, Katara and Aang. You know? Because, like, it was always obvious that Aang had a crush on Katara, and that's fine. It was never really established that Katara had a crush on Aang, you know? Which, again, fine, whatever. Characters are gonna character. That's totally fine. But then in the Great Divide, like, Aang's like, so we're gonna die, wanna kiss, haha. And Katara seems down for it. So it seems like they kiss, or at least they were right about to. Very clearly, mutually about to kiss. And then after that, the lights turn on, and Katara's like, oh, cool, we're on our way out. And Aang's like, aw, I wanted to kiss and die. Now I have to live and not kiss. And they don't really acknowledge it after that, you know? They don't really acknowledge, like, afterwards they don't really acknowledge it? I don't know, it just seemed like... Thoughts in Katara and Aang's love story? It's cute, you know? Kids having fun, I don't know. I thought the kiss triggered the lights. No, it was the torch going out. They kissed because they were about to fucking die or whatever. It's whether or not they actually kissed. The point is they were going to kiss. Isn't Aang significantly younger than Katara? Actually, I think he's 100 years older. What is Aang's canonical age? Hold on. Aang is 12. Katara is 14, right? 14, yeah. Like, I guess, whatever. You can call the showrunners and cancel them. Yeah, I don't know. Just... Yeah. Yeah, Aang's 112. What's up with that? Whatever. I don't care. Anyway, what was the point I was trying to make? Oh, fuck. We have another one over here. Oh, God, we have two? Wait, there's no way we can get the rockets over this far. Wait. There's no fucking way. You can? Okay, fuck, whatever. Lead them? The homing missiles blow up eventually. Okay, well, we'll try again. Anyway, I do like, I do like the part when Katara finally acknowledges she might have feelings for Aang. She gets obsessed with that fortune teller in that one Earthbender town. Who she keeps, like, obsessively, like, asking her to look into the future. Which I think is really on point for Katara. Not only because Katara's a little bit into the spiritual woo shit, because she totally is, but also because it seems like somebody with as uncertain of a past as Katara might be, like, kind of inclined to fixate on, like, the certainty of the future. I think that tracks. Oh, wait, I chose the wrong one. God damn it. I think that tracks. Anyway, great episode, whatever. But, one of the predictions made by the fortune teller is that, Katara will fall in love with a great, powerful bender. And she's like, oh, cool! At the end of the episode, Aang uses some bullshit strong airbending to prevent a volcanic eruption's worth of magma, lava, whatever, from tearing apart the city. And Katara was like, damn, that sure is a strong bender. Which I kind of liked because it was simultaneously an acknowledgement of Aang's power, which I think is narratively important because holy fuck, he's strong. And it's also an indication that she doesn't really mind that being the direction where things go, you know? Like, her saying that out loud is kind of an acknowledgement that Aang fits within the peer category that was described by the fortune teller. Does that make sense? I think that's a good way of, like, expressing those feelings. Because it's not her saying she likes him. It's her indicating she's comfortable with accepting the fact that he fits within the criteria of people she could be into in the future. Does that make sense? I felt like that was a mature way of introducing that without feeling like a really contrived... Oh, sorry, no. Sokka called him a powerful bender. Right. And then Katara was like, he sure is. Yeah, sorry. Well, same point. Yeah, same point. Just she still acknowledged it verbally. Yeah, it was like cautious, you know, like, yeah, I thought that was smart. That was like a deep way of doing it. Not obnoxious. Ow! Hey, come on. We're locked on? What? What? Okay. Sure. How do you feel about Zuko's redemption arc? This is like one of the best redemption arcs in, like, in media. Zuko's redemption arc is handled fucking brilliantly. It was foreshadowed from the first minute of the first episode of the first season, and they built on it constantly and deliberately ever since there. You know? It was not some rushed, like, character dynamic switch up. It was very clearly... Come on. Thank you. Thank you. Actually, Vegeta is the best redemption arc of all time. True. Thoughts on Azula's arc? Does Azula's arc isn't a very... I don't think Azula has, like, the biggest arc, really. Azula starts out as an unhinged, like, narcissistic sociopath. I guess megalomaniac would be the best term. And she ends as that, but crazier than she was when she started, you know? I don't think there's anything wrong with that. No, in the comics she has an arc, but I haven't read the comics, so... Yes, her arc is a nosedive. That is the arc. Oh, had it going over there, huh? Can I stomp on you for a coin? I can. Thoughts on the beach episode? I don't know. Okay, are you just gonna ask me to, like, give a plot synopsis? No, the beach episode is good. It was a little zany, a little kooky, which I thought was cute. I think it's important to introduce a bit of levity to these characters, you know? It also, you know, it significantly foreshadows, like, Zuko's heel turn thereafter, which is important. I think it indicates that Zuko's behavior and his decision to turn back to the Fire Nation was motivated primarily by insecurity. Reinforces the fact that his life isn't really, like, that of, like, a constant military, you know, tactician or fighter or whatever, but is actually some sort of, like, spoiled aristocrat. It shows a harsh contrast between the life he's grown to become used to and the life that he's living now. He's clearly not comfortable in social situations and is resentful towards the people who are kind to him because he feels guilty. I think it all sets up all the, like, really solid emotional beats that you'd expect, that you'd want, leading into a good redemption arc. We need a fucking planet. Do bad sequels ruin the original for you? No, I don't think so. If they try to, like, hardcore retcon stuff, sometimes it can get pretty wonky.